Hi, everybody. Welcome to Capital to the Coast BNI. My name is Mike Manning. Each week, we bring you a local small business success story from one of our 40 plus chapters that stretch from Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina to the coast of Wilmington, North Carolina, and most all the points in between. And if you're not familiar with BNI, it is Business Networking International, the world's largest networking organization. And our goal each week when we meet is to help each other grow their business. And we do not have a guest today, had some scheduling conflicts. So we get to chat, me and you, going to chat today. And we're going to talk more about, on the small business side, about understanding who your ideal client is. And we've all been guilty of this. And I was guilty of this when I joined BNI in 2013 and actually started networking. Um, to grow a commercial cleaning business my brother and I had. And I started asking for anyone and everyone for a couple of reasons. One is I didn't know any better. And two is I didn't want to leave anybody out because we had bills to pay. And for 4 months, it did not work because I would stand up and BNI members get 30 to 45 seconds to do an elevator pitch. Hi, my name is Mike. I'm with this cleaning company, and here's what we do. And I would ask for any business in the triangle or every business that needs their office slash building clean. And it didn't work out. Nothing for 4 months. And then one day I someone pulled me aside and said, "Hey, you need to kind of think about your elevator pitch." And at the same time, my brother and I got a call from a small doctor's office. And we met with the doctor and we're walking through, and my brother and I kept looking at each other, and finally dawned on us that, hey, this is our ideal client because they had three small exam rooms and one person could clean. I think it was probably maybe 1,100 square feet, maybe 1,200 square feet of everything with reception area, office space, hallway, and the three exam rooms. And we realized one person could clean that by themselves. So other people could go clean smaller offices like this. But it took us 4 months to figure that out. And it turns out the doctor had called me because I had dropped off some information. I was cold calling for a couple of months, just driving by pretty much any business, which again is wrong, but pretty much any business and leaving a little flyer. And she just happened to call me. I got calls from a couple other medical offices, but none from generic other business offices. So that's how we kind of stumbled on our elevator pitch. But once we figured that out, then every time I went to a networking event, that's what I would ask for because we had different color rags. So we would use a red rag on just the toilet. We would clean the toilet with that red rag and then put it in a dirty rag bag. And we pull out a yellow rag and we would clean the sink and countertops with that. But what really sold it for me, as I understood what these folks were looking for, I would go call on somebody when I got a chance to meet with them. I would say, "Can you show me your janitor's closet?" And they would look at me real funny, and I'd say, "Trust me on this, I know." But they walked me back to it. And I knew for the most part, 9 out of 10 times, at least 8 out of 10 times, sometimes 9 out of 10 times, what I would find is a dirty mop head in the mop bucket. And I would say, "Oh, this is what I was looking for." And I'd let that breathe for a second because I wanted them to see it. And I said, "All right, here's what I believe is going to happen. This mop head is going to be used again tonight. It was used at least last night, if not 2 nights before. And it was used to mop the bathroom and your reception area. So anything that was in the bathroom likely is now on the floor in your reception area and vice versa." And I told them we bring in one mop head to do the bathroom, and we change the water. And then we have another mop head to do the floors. And that really got things going. So that's why we need to understand who our ideal client is. And it turned out we were a cleaning company, but our ideal clients appreciated uh, it was eliminating cross contamination because that's what we were doing. Whatever's in the bathroom is going to stay in the bathroom. It's not coming out. Okay. And so that's what we learned. So now my elevator pitches were geared toward, if you have a client that owns a business and this is a concern of theirs, here's what we do, here's why we do it. I'd love an introduction. So that's how my brother and I got our commercial cleaning business going. But a lot of times when we talk about our elevator pitches, we tell and we don't ask for the people we really want to work with. And a lot of times we struggle to tell the problem we solve. And if you've done an elevator pitch before and you've told people you've been doing this for 19 years and you have 421 5-star reviews, those are nice, but neither is a solution. So one of the things we need to talk about in our elevator pitch is what solutions are, because a lot of times elevator pitches don't connect. You'll stand up and say, hey, we can help anybody do this. And what I've found is the couple of industries can, I think, in court truly say they can help anybody. And those are the insurance people and the financial advisors. Because if I'm a financial advisor and you have $10, I could take you on as a client. You have $10. So I could say I could truly help anybody that wants to start saving. So, but again, if you're a financial advisor, do you want to bring me on board if I've just got you $10 a week to give you? You may not, and that's up to you. That's fine. But a lot of times people stand up and will tell instead of ask. I would like to be introduced to. So one of the frustrations with people is their elevator pitch does not connect at all. And so, again, they stand up and brag, which I did for 4 months, bragged about, oh my gosh, we can clean every building in the triangle, which was not true. If a client had 4 floors and they hired us to clean their 4 floors, we couldn't do it. We didn't have enough people. We weren't interested in hiring fast. We wanted to build up some momentum, figure out what we were good at it, and go from there. So that's one of the reasons why some of these elevator pitches don't work. And the goal we want to each networking event we attend is I stand up and I give my elevator pitch for whatever business I've had. And I want, if one person says, hey, Mike, let's talk afterwards. Beautiful. If everywhere I went, one person pulled me aside, because 12 people are rarely going to pull you aside. So don't think that that's a good day or that's a bad day if 12 don't. What if the right one does everywhere you go? So if I go to four networking events a week and I make one connection that ends up leading to a conversation, that's a good week. I went to 4 networking events. I set up 4 next meetings, because that's where the money is usually, is at the next meeting. And I know my conversion rate. So if my conversion rate's 50%, I know on average I'm going to get 2 new clients a week. And that's how we need to look at it. So we can't say, oh, I went to a network. Old school networking was, I went there. How's the networking event? I'm like, oh, it's great. I got 22 business cards. And that sounded real good. But at the end of the day, I had set up no meetings because I let the people leave with them just handing me their card. And now I've got to chase them down. So now when I go to a networking event, if Amnon and I start talking and I think there's something there and he thinks, there's something here too, I'll ask him, hey, can you get your phone out or wherever your calendar is? Let's book something right now before we both leave. So he takes his phone out. I've got my phone out. We agree that Thursday morning at 8:30 at whatever place we're going to meet. That's a good networking event, because the fact that 2 people wanted to talk again is what we're looking for. Something I said to him connected, something he said to me connected, and we're going to sit and talk. So that's what we're looking for when we go networking, is to say something so good and so direct. And one of the neat things in BNI, one of the phrases we have is specific is terrific. And I said something specific about what I do. He said something specific about what he does, connected with each of us, and then we have a meeting. So that's one of the problems a lot of people have with elevator pitches at networking events is they really don't know what to ask for. They want to tell, and again, I did it too. We want to brag about how great our company is, but that's not a solution to our problem. When I do my chapter trainings, I have a picture of me holding my two granddaughters, and Maggie is now 3, and Cortland's 2 years and coming up on 8 months. And I tell people this is the reason I go to my chiropractor and my massage therapist so I can hold them because in about another week and a half or a month and a half, they're going to be both be 9 years old and I won't be able to pick them up anymore, especially not both of them at the same time. So that's why I go to them, to Ashley, my chiropractor, and Lindsay, my massage therapist. So, but we don't want to tell people that's why folks hire us. We want to brag about our company, where in reality, we should be telling people, here's why you should introduce me to these people that you know because I can help them with this. And we don't ask. And by that, and by doing it the telling way, is we're not as efficient as we need to be because I go to 3 networking events and I brag about how great the company is, and nobody comes up to me afterwards or wants to talk about anything I'm doing. That wasn't best use of my time, was it? So we need to be efficient in our elevator pitch because our time is valuable. We can make more money, we can't make more time. So everywhere I go, am I prepared to tell you who I'd like to be introduced to? And that's ideal client and or ideal referral partner. So in the cleaning world, we loved meeting. Uh, we loved meeting. Excuse me. Liked meeting any other folks who were going into businesses. We didn't do residential cleaning. So folks going into businesses, whether they're copier people, bookkeepers, we're asking for the folks that already have a relationship with those businesses we want to get into. um, Air conditioning people, things like that. They're already in that business if the medical office or the office is standalone. So, uh, but we need to know who those ideal clients and ideal referral partners are. So another question I have in some of my coaching I do is who benefits the most from your solution? Right. So that's the other thing you need to figure out because a lot of people's like, oh, I've been wanting to start this kind of company forever. But you need to figure out, are there a million people doing that? And so that's not a deal killer, but it's something you need to figure out. It's like, okay, there's a million people that already do this, but I've done my research in the area I live. There's only 7 people that do specifically what I do. And that could be in anything with the way you run your business. Some people are in a conversation this morning with a guy who's a digital marketer and we're talking about stuff, he's a lot of times when we meet a digital marketer, we hear or they say, I post on social media or I do all this digital posting somewhere. And we're like, okay. And so they could be more of a generalist at times, don't want to poo poo what they do. For purposes of this conversation, the guy I was talking to, he goes in to meet with businesses to manage the returns on their marketing plan. So a lot of times you'll hire somebody to post for you, but do you know if it's working or not? Oh yeah, we post 3 times a week, right? So that's good because Google will tell you they're looking for consistency. And for advertising and marketing, I think the latest number I've heard, I don't know if it's different, is I need to see your logo or your image 7 times before it is burned into my brain. So we know those numbers are out there. But are you going to do something different or bring a new service to the area that somebody else isn't doing? Uh, let's talk about the service-based business owners that are focused on in the residential world. So that's your painter, your landscaper, your HVAC person, stuff like that. So what are you doing different that's going to benefit them? And use different products on their yard, and they like that. You may have an HVAC maintenance plan where twice a year you come out for free or for a limited dollar amount and you just check their system to see if it's working. Kind of like taking your car in for a tune up every year, kind of like you going for a physical. You're not really going, usually you're not going for a specific reason. You're just going to get everything looked at under the hood to see if everything's still running. So the types of people that will gain value by hiring you. Okay. And value is important because when we look at our clients, we can figure out their age, kind of where they live, maybe an industry that they're in, if that matters. But a lot of times it's a psychographic part of them hiring us. So I need you to put your consumer hat on. So you as the buyer, you buy what and for what reason? Now, a lot of times we need the product, but the product solves a problem. I go back to my chiropractor, my massage therapist. I bought a service, but I was buying the solution to a problem. So let's say you are a pet sitter. One of your ideal clients would have a couple things in mind. They appreciate the value of you coming to let their dog out at 1 o'clock in the afternoon so they don't have to come home from work. Because the thing we do the most is we give away our time, especially as business owners. I'll do that when I get home. So if you're a business owner and you've got to leave your house, your work every day to come home, let the dog out, drive back, it could be 30 minutes, it could be an hour, don't know. But you appreciate the value in hiring me as a dog sitter to come by your house every day at noon, in between the noon and the 12:30 hour, and walk your dog, not let them out in the backyard to go to the bathroom. I literally walk them for 10 minutes so they get some exercise, right? So that's part of the value we're looking at. If you're a pet sitter, you're looking for busy people that aren't always home, but they love their dog. And we all have those friends that they treat their dogs better than they treat their kids or their spouse. Insert the joke here because I know you've got a friend that says that, oh, yeah, a little scruffy here's treated better than Mike, my husband. So they're busy. They might travel. Here's another reason why that's an ideal client to ask for, because if they love their dog the way you probably love your dog, is they do not want to board their dog. So they pay $100 a night, just pick a number, $100 a night to board their dog in a place that, a cage, 5x5 or 3x3, whatever it is. But they don't want to do that, but they see the value in you. So they're going to pay you $110 a day. So little Scruffy can sleep in his own bed in his own house. Those are the clients, if you're a pet sitter, that you're looking for, because they appreciate the value of what you bring. You're not just showing up, let their dog go to the bathroom in the backyard and then leaving. You're actually spending a few minutes with the dog so they get some human interaction. But it's those type of things that we're looking at when you're trying to understand who your ideal client is what's the value they will pay you for. We as consumers are looking for solutions to problems. I tell this all the time when I do training. My wife loves Amazon and she's very good at it. She'll find a product she likes, doesn't need right now, but in the next month or so, she's going to need it. And she'll put it in her shopping cart. And she'll let it sit there, be 3 days, a week, 2 weeks. And she knows at some point in time, Amazon is going to cut the price on that product because they need to move it to clear some shelf space. And she gets a notification. The product went from $18 down to $10. And she hits purchase. And usually the next morning it shows up on the front porch. That's her value. That's what she pays for. To find out, it's through Amazon. It's usually for the price, but what she pays for is she doesn't have to go to the store to buy it. Whereas I am one of the few people you will meet that brags about loving shopping at Walmart. Now, I know I get all kinds of reactions when I say that, but follow me on this, okay? Now, and I do the shopping because my wife works and I work from home. Kids are grown and gone. So I do the shopping because I have more flexible time to do that. And I go to Walmart for the prices. Could I go to Food Lion, Harris Teeter, Aldi, the ones around us? I could. They're a little bit more expensive, but still good stuff, right? I go to Walmart. The prices got me into Walmart, but I stay for the scenery because I'm a people watcher. And I love airports and Walmart. And I love going up and down almost every aisle, just looking at people. I'm a people watcher. It cracks me up. That's the value I see in Walmart. Okay? Plus, they open on Saturday mornings an hour earlier than a lot of the other stores do. And I'm an early riser, and that's what I like. So when you're looking at the benefit, who benefits the most from your solution? We want clients that buy us for our value because we're buying people. When we hire folks, their company name, I can find your competitor, unless you're NASCAR and you know the difference between Ford and Chevy, or if you're a soft drink aficionado and you can tell the difference between Pepsi and Coke. Otherwise, people are like, yeah, that brand will work. Okay. So they appreciate the value. And then you want to figure out how you can either save them time and or money. Let's go back to the pet sitter. All about time, and it's all about little Scruffy having the best week ever. Because you and your spouse want to go to Rome and you're going to be gone for 5.5 days, and you are not about to board your dog for 5.5 days, and none of your family and friends will take your dog for a week. And they don't have to. They don't want to. They may be good friends, but they don't have a dog and they don't want a dog in the house, and that's fine. So do not judge them for that. But you see the value in the pet sitter. They come in your house, your dog gets to know them, gets a little bit of human interaction at least once a day, if not twice, gets a walk outside, gets fed regularly, and gets to sleep in their own bed in their own house instead of, dogs getting anxiety for being boarded. Nothing wrong with boarding places for pets because a lot of people need them. But again, that's why you're looking for the ideal clients. You don't want to say anybody with a dog because not anybody will appreciate your value and they may not have the money to pay you. So there are enough ideal clients out there with discretionary income, or they'll find the money for their dog. Because there's some things in life we will find money for. We may not have it quickly, but we'll find it for X, Y, or Z. So we're looking at the lifestyle they lead and why they would need us and why they see the value in what we do. Because a lot of times, small business owners start their business to create a lifestyle. I want to control my work schedule and the amount of money I could make. Because if I work for you and I work for your company, I'm going to be slotted in a pay range probably every year that I'm with you. If I have my own business, now 100% of the risk is on me, but I can double, if not triple, my income by doing it my way, by myself, or with the staff I hire and lead the lifestyle I want to lead. So a lot of times with your business, you are helping somebody else's lifestyle. I go back to holding my granddaughters. Love it. Don't want, I know I'm going to have to stop doing that one day, but don't want to do it today. Right. So when we're talking about our ideal clients, those are the things we're thinking about. And then the last thing we'll talk about is, so we've identified our ideal clients as a pet sitter is higher end neighborhoods, people that love their dog, but they're busy and or they travel, or they have young kids and they're at Little League every night. So they blow in around dinner time, blow out, and the dog's there for, they just don't like leaving their dog alone for a while. So now that we understand that, now the question is, where are they and how do we find them? So this comes into networking and marketing and social media, but you need to know like in these higher end neighborhoods, in a lot of neighborhoods, there's next a place called Next Door, NEXTDOOR. It's a website that a lot of neighborhoods have that they post, hey, does anybody know a dog sitter? Hey, does anybody know a painter? It's like, oh yeah, I use so and so, to watch our dog and we loved it and our dog took to them real quick. Here's their name and number. A lot of neighborhoods have a Facebook page. Find those. A lot of times, as business owners, you can't post on there, but if you know somebody in that neighborhood, they can and usually will post for you. So the B part of understanding who our ideal client is not only who they are and what they do, but how do we find them? Because if your ideal client cannot be any business, it just can't. Because by the definition of the government of the United States, my business, which only has me, and the Carolina Hurricanes hockey team are small businesses. So you can see why we got to be careful asking for any business or every business. I may be too small for you, Hurricanes may be too big for you, but we're both designated small businesses. So which one is it? And then a lot of times people are like, oh, okay, well, let me think this through. And that's why we need to figure out who they are and where they are. So I don't have to cold call. I just go to strip malls and just knock on every office or walk in or go into a 5-story building and just start on the 5th floor and go by everybody and say, hey, my name is Mike. I do this and I leave this for you. And 90% of those never get, at least 90. I think the return rate's probably like 1 or 2%, kind of like a mailer. You get mailers in your mailbox, the value pack, things like that, the one-off postcards or something taped to your mailbox, which by the way is illegal. Just want to tell people that can't touch mailboxes, or they may leave door hangers. Okay. So the return rate on that is like it is about 1%, maybe 1.5%. But if you go to a good networking organization like BNI, where we see the same people every week, that return rate's going to be higher. But wherever you do your networking, you're going to need to know who the people are and how do we find them, especially if you have to do it on your own, right? Because again, you can cold call every business in your town, but that may not be as efficient as you need it to be. So, but anyway, so if you have a business, and by the way, now that you do training with me all the time and you do networking and you do elevator pitches, you may not ever use the two words anyone or everyone, because in your phone, on your contact list, under the letter A, do you really have the word anyone? You do not. Let me save you the time from looking in your phone. And under the letter E, you do not have everyone. So let's quit asking for them. Because I always ask people, hey, who in the room has fired a client before? And usually half their hands go up. I said, how freeing was that? And they're like, oh my gosh, Mike, you have no idea this client, blah, blah, blah. And they tell me a story. But by saying, I can work with anyone or everyone, you're bringing that group of people back into your life. So we don't want to work with them anymore. So that's why we don't ask for them. And that's why we don't use the word anyone or everyone again. So now that you've heard this from me, I expect you to not use either one of those words again, because we don't know what to do with that. If you tell me, hey, I love working with any small business owners you know, okay. So now you're asking me to stop or call every small business owner I know and ask them, hey, so and so, a friend of mine, so and so does this. Do you have any interest in meeting with them? And, that's not going to go well. But the minute you say, I want to meet your family or clients that have said, let's say I'm a realtor, and I say, I want to meet your family or clients that have said recently, there's no way I could buy a house in this market today. And that statement's wrong. They can buy a house, it's just different. So the subtle difference between me as a realtor standing up and saying, oh, anyone you know that's tired of renting. Okay. I think a lot of people are tired of renting, but I'm not going to go ask everyone I know that rents. But if you say, hey, I want to meet the people you know that have recently told you, I'd love to buy a house, but I just know I can't. And then that's when you would say, I would love an introduction to them to show them there is a way to buy a house in this market. Subtle difference, but as I say, it's Grand Canyon wide difference of anyone you know tired of renting versus the people in your world that have said, I'd love to buy a house, but I can't in this market. Big difference. So as you move forward with understanding your ideal client, you need to figure out the people you want to work with, the people you're working with right now that you love working with, and ask for them, explain them. Married, single, kids, travel, young, old, male, female, whatever. Doesn't matter what they are. It's just that's who you like working with. So that's who we're going to ask for. All right. So I hope this helped. Hopefully, I've got a couple of guests lined up for the next few weeks, but just had an issue today. But I always enjoy doing this with you. So finding your ideal client, I need you to write. So the homework assignment today is to write down your 3 favorite clients and what do they have in common. That's what you're going to ask for. They're all male, they're female, they're young, old, they own businesses, they travel, they whatever. That doesn't matter. But what do these 3 clients have in common that makes them your 3 favorite clients? And once you get that set up, then you can start crafting your elevator pitch for how to ask for them. So you're going to ask me if I know if any of my friends or family or clients have said this or are trying to do this. I'd love an introduction. You're not going to use the word any or every anymore because it's not going to make us think of anybody. You want to put my world in my head so I think of the people that need to meet you. But you have to ask me very specifically. Otherwise, I'm going to wait and listen for somebody else that does that. Because most everybody else in the room is standing up saying anyone or everyone. Or I love working with realtors and property managers. Well, you didn't ask me to do anything with that. You just told me, well, you just told me again, you didn't ask for anything. So even by saying that made me do nothing for you. Because there's many types of realtors, many types of property managers. What part of town, smaller houses, bigger houses, investors only, no investors, what? Because you need to start breaking those groups down as well. So anyways, hope you enjoyed this. Again, finding your ideal client, your homework assignment, your 3 favorite clients. What do they have in common? Build an avatar about them so you can describe them to people moving forward. These are the people you know in your world, clients of yours, your family, your friends that I'd like to be introduced to. So, all right, folks, hope you have a good day, and we will see you next time on Capital to the Coast BNI.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com and DeltaForce.net.